Oh, wow. It's like we're actually playing tennis.
I know, it's almost like the real thing.
Oh, I'm gonna replace my exercise routine with this. I bet all the skills we need are right here, right in this game.
Get ready. I'm gonna give you a taste of my backhand.
Bring it on. Hey gamers, Shep here. I think you know what happens next, so this is just a friendly reminder to keep your wrist straps super secure. You'll save yourself a world of hurt.
Oh, my eye! It hurts!
Match point.
Oh, my eye!
The left team wins.
I need attention.
Oh, medical! What's going on? Help!
Good to see ya, and welcome to February. Shep here again from Gaming Introspection. Hey, if you find this upcoming rundown of Wii Sports nostalgic or entertaining, please consider liking and subscribing to get more detailed analysis of games from many different genres. Speaking of genres, last time we looked at the super serious and intense Dead Space. I promise, this episode is free of creepy lighting and paranormal happenings, though if you're new here and are into that kind of stuff, check it out. Let's discuss the initial game that caused everyone and their grandma to rush out and buy Wiis. Buy them at a rate that was never equaled until the PS5 shortages of 2020. And 2021. And 2022. Oh, yeah, I still don't have one. Damn, living in an isolated part of Canada just really sucks sometimes. Still dreaming. Anyway, because it was bundled with the Wii on its release in 2006, which sold well over 100 million systems, Wii Sports actually became one of the best-selling games in history on any system, ever. It's the best-selling Nintendo game in their revered history, and the best-selling single-platform video game of all time! Even if you already knew that, isn't that crazy to think of? It boggles the mind! Think of all the thrilling or epic moments you remember from Mario or Zelda games. The glorious, first-of-its-kind, 3D analog control, and epic showdowns with bosses like Bowser, or the sprawling vistas with narratives and confrontations with Ganon, all of which have since been immortalized! And yet, all of them were eclipsed by this. The simplicity was so attractive to such a wide range of gamers, including different age brackets. Games still weren't being played by many people over 30 at the time, so the Wii definitely helped to introduce more of the population to the more social aspect of video games. And for many, this was after decades of them turning a blind eye.
Oh! Okay.
Now, there were many hits that came out of this approach, but also some loathsome, easy-to-fix misses that certainly should have been addressed before Nintendo released this flagship title. Let's waggle our way into the hits and misses of Wii Sports! There's no doubt about it. The best feature of Wii Sports is its accessibility. There's just no real barrier to entry. Can you do this? Or this? Then you can play it. If you've even watched any of these similar sporting events before, you'd already have an idea of how to perform the motion on the remote. There's also options for southpaws to perform various different actions, even within the same game, like pitching and hitting with different handedness in baseball. And with only one big A button and B button to worry about, you had no problem getting new people to try the game. Tennis doesn't even use a button for most of it. You just tap A to start your serve, and then you just waggle like... My favorite thing seeing newbies play this for the first time is how they tried to run back and forth the same way as the me characters playing tennis, not realizing that this movement was automated. They'd fall over footstools or knock their opponent over while thinking they were Rafael Nadal. Even when keeping your feet stationary, this tennis game is probably the most dangerous sport in the package, because your arms are constantly flailing to both sides. And if you were against a human opponent, you were each inches away from demolishing each other. And honestly, whoever wore these wristbands? Teenagers would never do it because it wouldn't be cool. And yet, they're the ones with the uncontrollable urges or rage impulses that make airborne Wii remotes a very deadly possibility. Actually, come on, come clean in the comments. What's the worst incident you've ever had of a Wii remote gone wrong? I bet if we each had a drink to chat about that, we could be here a long time. Anyway, bowling is the exact same idea as tennis, but just with a different motion, and one B trigger to press, as if you're holding the ball as you rear back and let it rip. Although there are some subtle twists of the wrists you can do, which gives it some spin. You can also alter where you're standing on the floor, as well as your positioned angle, but that's done with simple taps of the D-pad. There's still some risk here, but at least if you lose your grip, it'll go flying into your TV screen, instead of in someone's eye. In baseball, batting has a satisfying swinging/timing mechanism that works well with the speed of each pitch, especially during the home run competition. And you don't have to worry about adjusting your swing level higher or lower. Pitching has a bit more depth in terms of different pitches you can throw, but the motion is very straightforward, and it's easy to get the hang of the flick of the wrist speed determining the speed of the ball, using the B button to change the type of pitch. Golf is the most satisfying, as you really do make that free and easy swing motion for a normal shot, while dialing it back as you subtly nudge the remote to replicate your putting stroke. Let's move on to the next hit now. Huh? I forgot one of the sports? No, I'm pretty thorough. If you've seen any of my other episodes, you'll know that by now. Yeah, don't really know what you're talking about. So, as I said, let's move on.
It's out of the park.
This hit is a brief but very important one. Sometimes we forget the impact of video games on a social level. Remember, YouTube was in its infancy when this game was released, and things like live streaming hadn't even begun to make inroads in the online world. Gamers were still often stereotyped as being reclusive, depressed, unable to manage their emotions, or another myriad of negative classifications. Well, those same gamers began hosting parties, inviting family or friends into this mini collection of fun sports games, and other people who would have dismissed them before because of their prior assumptions suddenly understood how exciting and fun a video game could be. I'm grateful for games like Wii Sports that are friendly and inviting, and truly think its release was a landmark in having video games be viewed through a different, more positive lens, and something that a larger portion of the population could enjoy. And it got big! There was even a large-scale social gathering for Wii Tennis called Wimbledon, which pit some of the best Wii tennis players against each other in 2007. I was fortunate enough to be in college during Wii Sports' heyday, and this made for some fun late-night gaming sessions with best buddies. Because, in addition to laughing at someone's poor play, or their form as they throw a bowling ball or swing a bat,
You suck!
they do it right back to you. And during those moments, it didn't matter how poor the graphics were, because your buddies would be LOLing at your extravagant poses when succeeding, and spazzing animations as you struggle.
You suck!
If any of you have a funny Wii Sports memory from your past, please leave it in the comments, because there is a lot of material to work with here, and it would probably help a lot of us feel validated. Nintendo was smart to feature a type of hot seat multiplayer with respect to bowling and golf too. With these sports alternating the active participants, you didn't have to dish out $60 extra for Wii remotes just to host a fun get-together. Getting the footage for this episode reminded me of just how much fun these experiences were and still are. I'm betting a lot of you have your Wiis or Wii U's gathering dust in a closet somewhere. Maybe it feels embarrassing to show it to your friends or your kids after over a decade, but if it's been forever, or maybe they haven't ever tried it out at all, it might be worth plugging back in and making some important, funny memories with the most important people in our lives, even if we all look like spazzes while we do it. It would really do the world some good if we all just lightened up a bit.
It's out of the park.
Yep, I like golf in real life. I mean, I even play it in winter.
And damn it. Damn it. Oh, come on.
So I'm a bit biased, but it is a highlight of Wii Sports for me. For one thing, it is easily the best looking of all the minigames. The scenery actually changes amidst many different settings, complete with some smooth camera work previewing each hole or zooming during clutch moments. Small compliments like trees gently swaying in the wind, textured cliffsides, and water that shimmers like glass make it feel complete. This is also the only main game that actually has some depth. You're equipped with a driver, iron, and wedge, along with your putter, and you're able to switch between them at any time. Have you ever, just for fun, ever tried to complete a Wii Sports golf hole, or dare I say a full round, using only the putter? I wonder how that would turn out. This might take a long time. Well, I sucked ass, but I wonder really what the best score is for a putter round of Wii Golf. Who has it? I know it's out there somewhere. You're given a solid 9-hole course to play through, as well as options for just 3 holes of varying difficulty. There's even wind that's randomized each time you play, so you truly have a different round every time. It makes a big difference too, because you may be able to easily shoot past a bunker hazard with the wind helping you.
Nice shot.
But if it's against you, you may have the wind mess up your shot and come up short, and that forces you to try another strategy. Every condition changes how you aim and how you swing, with each shot being completely different. Swinging too hard can put you in the drink, or shank it to the left or right too far so you're buried in sand. Which is one complaint I do have. You can't swing nearly as naturally hard as you would with a real golf club, and it's too easy to go out of bounds. But you may have to risk swinging too hard just to get your ball far enough out of the sand, even if you pull it. And in the rough, you have to carefully adjust your swing rate to keep it on your intended path, or else... Oh, yeah. There's also several holes where islands or secret areas are scattered that are very risk-reward based. I could do the vanilla route and just plainly shoot the ball straight, but I want to risk it all and go for this isolated patch of green which is smack in the middle of a thick forest. Damn, not quite enough. It's so close. Now I'll really put some muscle into it. Too far, of course. Damn it! I'm disappointed, and I'm definitely going to lose. But the best part of Nintendo games in general is that there's so much optimism, there's so many good vibes that every Nintendo game brings forth. It's never going to discourage you or make you want to quit. So, you just keep trying. That hurts. That hurts, man. The greens truly go all out with elevation changes and charts showing you the lay of the land. Just look at the variety of putts you have to contend with. To help you cope, the ambience is soothing with peaceful, organic outdoor sound bites. There's some real replay value with golf. It's easy to play with up to 4 people, and no one has to worry about others sabotaging them. It's easily my favorite package of Wii Sports. Oh, and you gotta love seeing the ball hit a cliffside and slowly, gradually bounce, and fall into the endless abyss of the ocean. Priceless. When it happens to someone who's not you, it's especially fun to observe. The only mechanic I dislike is the out of bounds feature, which occurs if you hit the ball into grass that's apparently too high. What's the big deal? It's sitting nicely on top of the grass. Play it where it lies. I go marching into the forest when I hit it in there.
Oh! Oh!
They could have used this deep rough for more difficult techniques and a wider variety of clubs, which is a lack of depth I'll talk about later.
It's out of the park.
It's nothing spectacular, but there are some nice touches made to satisfy solo Wii Sports athletes. A much more competent experience than Mario Party's solo mode, for example. As you participate, your Mii character gradually builds up skill points, and it's nice to have at least a visual indicator of how well you're doing. If you read the greens and sink some sweet putts, or smash some home runs consistently in the home run challenge, your stats will reflect your accomplishments or failures. Computer opponents you play against level up with you, so there's always a sense of challenge that's tough but fair. There's also a surprisingly robust training program for all 5 of the events, with 3 exercises each that are totally different from each other. You can even earn medals for some extra motivation. Just a small taste of professional athlete feeling. Some just train your accuracy and timing, like some tennis exercises that have you consistently get the ball in from both long distance and at the net. Or this one, which forces you to swing earlier or later in order to direct a ball into a specific zone on the court. It trains your body to focus more on exactly when and where to use a backhand or forehand. This intensifies in the target challenge, which restricts your ability to make errors a lot. There's this cement wall that bounces the ball back to you, but it's pretty close. And so if you hit it too hard, it'll ricochet back at 70 miles an hour, and you'll never be able to keep your rally going. Also, the wall somehow crumbles because it's apparently just plaster that was painted like cement. And if you hit the ball in the same spot too many times just to keep your chances alive, it'll fall apart completely and you'll blast the ball out of bounds. It's pretty cool. And it makes you restrain yourself from hitting the ball as hard as you can, while still making you have great timing to angle it the right amount to hit the bullseye. Golf exhibits awesome putting challenges, which encourage you to use the amazingly in-depth color-coded green radar to adjust where you want your line to be before your stroke. Some of the greens have major undulations of height and curvature, with tricky short putts and intimidating long putts. It's what helps golf be among the best games in the package. Aiming straight at the hole just doesn't work on these slopes.
Try again.
You can also do a chipping challenge, which puts those variables into play, but with more emphasis on how well you predict the force you'll need on your swing, the amount of which can send you off the green entirely, or put you nice and close for a simple tap-in.
Chip in.
Or that. That can happen too if you're really lucky, because I sure as hell ain't good. Rounding it out is a cool driving range test that has the regular flag in green, but also a miraculous target in the middle of this lake, which you can go for using your irons, or when the wind is too much for you to reach the main green. Your stance and weight geometry once again get a workout here. Baseball, for all of its flaws we'll examine later, has a neat swing control minigame that helps you time your swing. A spray chart appears to direct you where to hit the ball, whether you want to rip it back through the middle, mix things up with an off-field hit, or prove your awesome reflexes by pulling it down the third baseline. It'll practice you up. And then there's this game where this 50-year-old guy throws 30 straight pitches at you, and you just have to stand there and endure a crazy batting practice barrage. This one actually does make you feel the burn of constantly swinging, and the pitches go from being easy 50-mile-an-hour lobs to almost 90-mile-an-hour heaters that are mixed in with junk pitches that make you look like a damn idiot. But don't get too excited for baseball. Just don't. Bowling offers some amazingly creative barrier challenges that force you to adjust your line of sight and angle, kind of like putting, but with more subtle adjustments with your wrists to add that extra bit of spin necessary to get the pins. They start with small and simple blockades, but eventually add more and larger obstructions, including some that you can only surpass by snapping your wrist upwards to launch the ball over top of. Damn, that would hurt the wrist, wouldn't it? Then there's the 100 pin challenge, where you get to throw a single bowling ball at stacks of increasingly and laughably ridiculous amounts of bowling pins. I don't really know where the skill part comes in here. It's just fun to try and knock hundreds of them down, and also infuriating when you see a few stubborn ones that should fall down, but they just seem to always stand there, wobbling or standing stoic, unflinching, just to drain the joy out of your soul. Finally, there's a fitness test, which appears on the surface to be a very fine-tuned, player-specific regimen to make you focus in on attributes like balance, stamina, and the like. But when you play it, the game just randomly chooses 3 events from any of the 5 sports and then judges you based on how well you do. That doesn't make a lick of sense. If it picks events you've done before and enjoy, you'll feel like a young buck that's ready for the major leagues, because you'll likely find yourself with a pretty sweet stat line and a flattering Wii fitness age. 27! Now that's what I'm talking about. I still got it, buddy. But if it's crap, like Boxing, which, yes, fine, we'll look at later. Or you just have an off day as you swing futilely, and the only hits you make are foul tips that roll back from the backstop and gradually inch towards the plate again, interfering with your concentration. You suddenly find yourself looking at this. "68? Jesus Murphy, I'm not that ancient and decrepit yet. Am I? Do I look old to you?" What are you doing? Get out of here! Get out of the shot! Oh, Jesus. 68. Well, if the game truly thinks I'm that old and out of shape, I'm just gonna have to plug away and get better, because after all, '80. Yeah. Yeah, that's just nice. First, the game flat out tells me to give up. And now, it's saying that my fitness level is equivalent to that of an octogenarian. Yeah, thanks a lot, Wii Sports. You truly are a shining beacon of light and hope with your positivity across all age groups. Yeah. I love how the 68 droops, as if it's telling you, "Oh, buddy, whew, that's pretty bad." And then, to add insult to injury, it suddenly replaces itself with 80, relishing in the salt that's poured into your eyes. And if you want to try again, because you're appalled at how old the game makes you feel, you can't! It flat out tells you you can't do more than one training test a day. Well, that's just asinine, especially since the 3 events are randomly picked out of 15 possible options. There's no standards or control group here, so the results are meaningless anyway. You should be able to preset an established routine filled with events and skills that you want to focus on. Like, when you went to college, did you just walk into the administration building and then a woman there just randomly started spinning a roulette wheel to determine your course load? That would be goddamn stupid! Imagine if it put you into a carpentry class and you thought that this was a hammer! You'd flunk within the first week! This is pretty bad. But overall, there's quite a bit of legitimate tools to make you actually better at the games. So I can't fault the single player component for this blunder. Fitness testing problems aside, Wii Sports established a fun, easygoing environment for people of all ages and skill levels to enjoy. So any flaws that the game has should just be excused, right? Oh boy, when you see the misses that I've found in this gem, you're going to remember just how far we have yet to come when it comes to motion technology.
Strike! Strike! Batter out!
There's more to this miss than just the fact that more complex controls and maneuvers just aren't possible. There's also a severe lack of customization when it comes to game options and length. I'll admit, the motion control isn't perfect. Your actions aren't going to replicate how things play out on screen with precision. Sometimes it's just ridiculous how aggressive or light you need to make your motions, and the odd time they just don't match up at all. But having said that, it's still done well enough that there should have been more options given for a more complete experience of each sport. The most customizing you can do is choosing how many holes to play in golf. It's one of the few games that actually has more than one playing field, which is why it has a bit more replay value. But even here, it's just 3 holes with scaling difficulty or combining them into 9. Bowling offers nothing. It's a full 10-frame game with however many players are playing. That's it. No options for 5-pin bowling or even slight alterations. You can't do the 100-pin challenge in a tournament, and there's no basic tournament mode across more players. In tennis, Although you can extend the win system to make longer games, you are again barred from even making a basic tournament bracket between players. In fact, you can't do that with any of these games. I mean, that's the basics of the basics. Smash Brothers has tournament modes. Some Sega Genesis games from the early 90s have more advanced tournament brackets than this. So don't tell me it was a technical issue. Speaking of tennis, it's just so boring to look at after enough matches. Would it be so hard to design an alternate clay surface, even a different color, or an alternate stadium or background? And while we're at it, let the players run back and forth somehow using the nunchuck? That's not asking too much, is it? You could always keep the waggle-only option for people that want it, but add more control for those who want more depth. I mean, look at Twilight Princess, which came out the exact same time as Wii Sports. The remote makes Link slash his sword, yeah. But does Link automatically move around spontaneously without your input? How fun would that be? Not very. So instead, you control him with the analog stick like you have for the last 10 years, and then you can swing the remote to swing the sword. So don't tell me it was too tough to program.
Well, baseball won't let us down. It's America's pastime. It's also extremely popular in Japan, where Nintendo is located. So I bet Nintendo pulled out all the stops to make this the best, most realistic simulation possible.
Oh man, look at how tense this game is. Up 1 run in the bottom of the third. Yeah! Whew. I got through the bottom half, but it's gonna be a tough challenge the rest of the way.
That's the game.
What? How did I win?
It's the bottom of the third! Yep, baseball is actually the worst offender in this non-customizable screw job.
Forget about a full league season or a championship playoff tournament. You can't even play a full regular game. 1/3 of it is all you can do. Not that you'd want to play this version any longer than that. Stay tuned for those details. I play ball all through my youth, and a huge part of it is playing the field, scooping up grounders, and running all out to catch a live ball. None of that is on display here.
Absolutely everything except pitching the ball and swinging the bat is completely automated. It takes absolutely every bit of chance, strategy, or surprise away from the player. No running, no stealing, no catching, no fielding, no nothing. Prime example, there's a runner on first, and the next player hits a grounder. In a real game, you can react quickly to chuck it to second and then on to first for the double play. It's a test of reflexes and coordination. If you screw up, it could be bad. Here, your third baseman gets the ball in his or her glove and simply throws it to first for 1 out. All the while looking at the camera for admiration. What the hell? I could have got 2 outs here, but since it's all out of my hands the instant the ball is in play, I just have to live with the outcome. All because this buck-toothed Nimrod wanted more screen time. In fact, they do this with every play. Outfielders, infielders, doesn't matter. They're just like, oh yeah, that was me who did that routine thing that's been done 1,000 times before. Yeah, check me out. They're so dazzled by the camera, they'll risk injuring their own teammates and botching plays just to be the hero. I have no idea what makes all these players so narcissistic, because they absolutely fail other times. They'll boot the ball with their bowling pin body, and they'll fail to even attempt to charge down a foul ball.
Foul ball. Foul ball.
Oh, look at that one! This could have been tracked down by a 90-year-old using a walker! How does an athlete not catch this? And yet, you're just helpless. If an error occurs, it should be your fault. But no! It's completely random. It's just as bad on the offensive side, too.
You have to swing. You can't be strategic and lay a bunt down for a base hit.
I mean, technically you can. You can lay your bat out there like you're going to bunt. But look what happens!
You're out.
Doesn't even try! He just stands there. And the announcer says, "You're out." Well, no duh, you dumb prick. It's pretty obvious you should run to first if you make contact with the ball. Did they just bring these me's in who have never played the game before? Oh, and everything thrown is a strike. It doesn't matter if you're blazing in a fastball, doing something off speed, or even rare pitches that are barely used anymore like screwballs. The strike zone is apparently infinite. I mean, they didn't even budget enough to insert an actual umpire behind the plate, so my only conclusion is that it's that same announcer who's probably way up in the skybox just yelling, "Strike! Strike! Strike!" since all he can see is that the ball is headed in the general direction of the batter. It's truly abhorrent. I mean, watch this. It bounced on the plate. I mean, in fact, it hit the dirt. It was unhittable, and it was still called a strike. The only time it's a ball is if you whiff your wrist action completely and the ball just kind of hits the field right before the plate. That's it. So you have to swing at everything. Ridiculous.
Strike. Batter out. Strike. Strike. Batter out.
Yes, even for 2006, these graphics left so much to be desired. I know they were going for simplicity, but was it that hard to draw a couple oval polygons and call them legs or arms? Even the hands are just vague spheres. In boxing, your glove is just a floating, disembodied thing that attacks people. It's just inexcusable how minimalistic they made every piece of the graphics in the game. There's not even any expressions on the Mii's for winning or losing. Winners hold their heads upwards, losers tilt their heads down. That's it. Seeing these limbless carnival toys rushing out to get a ball is just mystifying. It's no wonder there's so many errors being made. How do they even pick the damn ball up when they don't have an arm to direct their glove? The Wii was no powerhouse, but at its core, it was still more powerful than a GameCube. And just look at the graphics that system, which was 5 years older, was capable of. If there was anything that kept stubborn people turning their nose up at this game, it was the brutal graphics and animations. Especially in the bowling and baseball games. Having these torsos with heads scoot around, it looks so terribly awkward and weird. There's not much in the audio department either. Some events like putting have cool crowd reactions as your ball approaches the cup, building some excitement, proper applause, and there is some nice menu music, but that's about where the positivity ends. Although the announcing voice is crystal clear, it gets repetitive.
Strike. 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 Nice throw. Nice throw. Nice on. Nice on. Nice on.
And sometimes just inaccurate.
Change sides.
Change sides? You mean switch innings? Or bottom half? Does it even know enough about the game to say those few extra words? There's no other voices except for the looping crowd noise in the bowling alley and some standard grunts while you're boxing. Which should have had a much bigger range of oofs, and labored breathing wheezes. Like if you were getting pummeled to the stomach, you should sound more like Isaac from Dead Space. Maybe not quite, but you get my point. Golf fares better with some peaceful wind and chirping birds, and I like how it actually differs depending on if the wind is still or it's a strong gusting gale. But, as you'll notice with it and everything else, it's all so sparse. There's no birds flying through the sky or butterflies fluttering around the course. There's no other golfers on the course with you, not even your player partners. I mean, are each of these me characters millionaires? Are they members of the aristocratic elite who own their own private golf course? I mean, this is pretty flush and well taken care of. Why aren't there tons of other people playing the links? Check out the baseball stadium. There's no one in the stands during the home run derby. No, I do not count these cotton candy colored stars as people either. They put me's in the crowd for tennis and bowling. Why not this? Why would you sign up to showcase your power in a home run derby if no one was there to see it? Imagine if Aaron Judge attended an MLB home run derby and no one came to see it. Can you imagine that? Because apparently Nintendo could. You know what makes this even worse? Nintendo was a majority owner of the Seattle Mariners Major League team until quite recently. They still have a minor stake in it today. They even had official contests and games endorsed by legends like Ken Griffey Jr., who even made it onto the cover of Nintendo Power a couple of times, with officially licensed stadiums and players. Japan is huge into baseball. Think of all the players, past and present, like Ichiro Suzuki or Shohei Ohtani, who have made a name for themselves in North America. And yet, Nintendo seems to have swept the sport they were most involved with completely into the dumpster. It's a travesty how awful and simplistic this version of baseball is. The overall look of Wii Sports is clean and clear, and the slow motion replays are fun to look at during funny blunders of miscalculated arm flailing or stunning feats of athleticism and technique, but it doesn't make up for the general feeling of, this should be better.
That's the game. Strike. Strike. Batter out.
I've been deliberately avoiding this portion of the Wii Sports package because I've been saving it for this huge miss. I never understood this when I first got the game, and I still don't now. It's just a bunch of mindless stabbing at the TV screen while your buddy beside you also mindlessly stabs at the TV screen until one of you knocks the other person out. Or until your Wii remote goes flying across the room or gets embedded in the TV, all because a bunch of overzealous kids are trying way too hard to be tougher than one another.
Round one.
Why'd you design my me character to be a psychopathic midget?
I designed your me when you were much younger and smaller and more well-behaved. Never mind that. Why are my arms like stretched out to my sides as if I'm inviting you to hit me?
Fight.
Which character am I?
You hit me! Oh, damn it! Stop it! You hit me!
I'm supposed to hit you. It's boxing!
In the game, not in the...
Oh, sweet! I think I'm getting it now. Watch my footwork!
Oh!
Oh.
That shuffling thing that my buddy Piper does is not how it works in the game, although it actually would have made a lot more sense. Like, if you tilt the remote left or right, your boxer gradually moves, steps, and leans extremely exaggerated in that direction. Again, why not just have the moving analog stick actually move your boxer? You could keep the limitation that punching stops your movement. It would be like RE4 with shooting while standing still, but at least make it a genuine moving action.
And the punches themselves? My God! The lack of arms dismantles any sense of realism. You've got disembodied gloves that are rocketing out from your body. You might as well be using Master Hands from Smash Brothers as your weapons. They curve and weave and propel forward and back so stupidly. To add to that ridiculousness, look at how violently the fighters react when they get knocked out. Family friendly, my ass! Look at these morbid piles of disfigured human anatomies. Okay, that unnatural collapse would probably snap the spine, while this one plugged him where the sun don't shine. Okay, this guy's legs are definitely broken. Holy jeez, they just crumple into such ridiculous heaps. The lack of depth shows up again here too. You lean like you're about to fall over to avoid punches, and while it does grant you some cool slow motion effect openings that you can use to capitalize with a combination, you have no indication of what's coming, so it's all luck whether your dodge works or not, and the controls are so bad that you can't aim for the weak spot. You see his gloves are up, so you go for a body blow, only for the dumbass me to jab high. You try to uppercut, but that doesn't work, and oh God! Do what I tell you to! Frick! Also, when the boxers go down in those gut-wrenchingly deformed poses, you can't do anything. Take a good boxing game. I don't know, like Super Punch-Out. What happens if you knock the guy down? You're rapidly jamming on the buttons, trying to recover tiny bits of essential health that may make the difference in a close match. Here, you do nothing. You simply wait and see how high the announcer counts up to. And it's the same thing if you get knocked down. You have no control over whether or not you get back up again. You just stand there and pray that your disembodied handman rises. In Super Punch-Out, again, you're tapping like a crazy man because the quicker you tap, the quicker you get up, and the more stamina that comes back. It's simple details like this that should have been included. You can't counter punch either, like in Super Punch-Out when you cross them up and it staggers them to give you an opening. Here, you're just wailing around, watching your floating toy gloves make ridiculous roller coaster motions upwards and sideways, while your huge head and body blocks most of your sightline anyway. Oh Lord, make it stop! Even the one-player fitness challenges that I heaped praise on in the other events are just awful here. You start by bludgeoning different colored punching bags that somehow shatter, and when it's just you against an object, it becomes distinctly clear how little your actual motions translate to punches. I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but it's bewildering beyond belief. Even more so now that I only have my own fists to look at. Look, I'm just flailing about, and yet my guy is doing these elongated hooks and uppercuts. Why? What am I doing different? If I actually try an uppercut, it often is just a straight jab or a hook. It just does whatever the hell it wants. Next, you're trying to dodge these tennis balls that the trainer is throwing at you. How is this relevant? Do boxers carry a secret stash of tennis balls in their pockets? And then during the match, when you're unawares, they just pull it out and chuck one at you? For kicks and giggles? Hit you while you're batting them away? You saw the fight before. There's no tennis balls being thrown. I mean, just have the trainer throw punches at you. Like, you know what is going to happen in the boxing match? Maybe with some indicators so you can practice dodging correctly? Finally, you're told to then aim your punches at the trainer's mitts. I can't even pick what kind of punch I'm gonna do, much less aim the damn thing. All I end up doing is keep hitting this buff, obviously experienced and chiseled muscle trainer in the face and abs, pissing him off. Oh, sorry, coach. I didn't mean to hit you all those times. I really can't control what my arms are doing. You know. You know what? It's cool, rookie. You don't have to ever worry about controlling your arms again. 'Cause if you ever pull that again, I'm gonna rip them right off. Regardless of whether it's the main event or these weird training sessions, boxing never wavers from being just a sporadic, exhausting ordeal of mismanaged location muck-ups that fail on every conceivable level. It's no wonder they never brought this back in any incarnation in the sequel, while the good games like Golf, Bowling, and Tennis got healthy and livelier updates in the Wii Sports Resort entry, with you being able to add topspin to the ping pong ball and draw and fade properties to your golf shots using the enhanced gyroscopes to measure your wrist action. Plenty more I could say about those, but I truthfully do not have much else to say about boxing. I just wish it would have knocked itself out before it got into this game. After the success of the Wii, many thought that motion controls would be the new standard for video game innovation. Unfortunately, although there were attempts to replicate and improve on the technology, like the PS Move controllers and Xbox Kinect, the appetite for these controls faded. And now, gamers have much less interest in using motion controls for the full-fledged experience, unless you count VR. But there's still a lasting legacy that comes with the advent of these controls, and Wii Sports is the game that exposed gamers from multiple generations to this exciting new concept all at the same time.
Nice birdie.
Because it was done so well, it really sold systems, and it converted a huge new swath of players into new gamers, and that's something that can't ever be erased, even if the worth of motion controls has faded. Maybe one day you'll dust off your own Wiis and get together with friends and family and relive some of the glory days of gaming. Hey gamers, thanks so much for joining me for this episode, and as always, I'll see you in 2 weeks for another episode of Gaming Introspection. Take care of yourselves,